everybody. Today we're here again with Galactic Center Diaries. We have Tiana here, and and she is going to be talking to us about her Sun, Jupiter conjunct the GC thing she has going on. I'm going to be asking some questions, and she's going to answer them as openly as she wants to.
Okay.
Well, however you feel most comfortable. I'm going to be looking at a phone because I've got my questions, not like, so when everybody know I'm not like texting or doing any bullshit. I'm, the purpose for me having my phone out. Okay. So we'll start with the first question.
Okay.
Okay. So since you have the Sun there, conjunct the GC, and I'll focus on that for just a second. And it's like right on it. Like it's right on it. Like less than a degree. The energy thing, the vitality thing, the life force thing. Do you feel like you go through periods of your life where you have like massive amounts of energy and then periods where it really dips?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely true. Like that kind of up and down. Like especially I find that I'll have periods where I'm really like living in the city and really being like doing a lot of city things, like going out a lot, like meeting a lot of people, having a lot of partners, like being around a lot of people, and then have periods where I'm like, okay, just a year out in isolation, doing like a road trip and just being with me and like maybe one other person, and feel like, okay, I just really need that time inward versus pushing outward, and like having that go back and forth between like really pushing myself out a lot and then really pulling myself back in.
Okay, so it does kind of do this kind of thing to your life force. Let me ask you this, because Cassandra also, now her chart is different obviously, but she mentioned in the first one, the first Galactic Center Diaries, that she felt like the GC might actually suck her energy. Do you feel like, I mean, now in just for everybody watching, they are different charts, like,
yeah,
but I am curious about that, if that is, because I never really thought of it as just being a sucking force, more of like an oscillation.
Yeah, I don't feel like, I also wouldn't use like a negative word like that either for me personally. Like I kind of feel like I do have these periods where I'm just more internal, but that doesn't feel like a negative thing versus like, oh, sucking your energy feels negative, versus like when I'm having periods where I don't want to see anyone and I'm just like in the room, I don't feel badly about that. Like, it's kind of just like, I mean, sometimes I might, but like, I feel like it's more like, oh, I just feel like I need this time to be like with myself, or like with kind of my own brain or my own imaginings or my own fantasies, my own spirituality kind of. So it's versus just being out in the world, which is like more in like, I don't know, space with other people.
Okay. No, I get what you're saying. I definitely get the distinction that I get what you mean. Mm-hmm. Okay. That makes sense to me. That makes sense to me what you're saying. It definitely does. Okay. So on to, you also have Jupiter there. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I've mentioned in other videos and things that I feel like planets conjunct the GC might function more like retrograde planets function if the planet is direct and your Jupiter is direct in your chart. Now, do you think that might be the case for you? Like, do you think that your Jupiter might function a little bit more like a
retrograde? What is a Jupiter retrograde? What is that like?
Okay, no, that's good. I should probably say that for anybody watching this that doesn't know. Okay, so it can come about in different ways. One of them is beliefs. Sometimes beliefs can be kind of noisy. Like whereas Mercury retrograde, like there can be a lot of mental noise. With Jupiter retrograde, there can be a lot of belief noise. So it's important for the like for myself, or as in opposition to like society kind of. It could be. I mean, I could see it going that way. I could see it going that way too.
Yeah.
But like beliefs, like I'm also thinking like hearing lots of different ways that you should be or what you should believe. And this isn't just like spiritual or metaphysical or religious beliefs, but any kind of lots of different ways that you should be. And it's really important for the Jupiter retrograde person to figure their beliefs out for themselves. Even if they're like a hodgepodge of different beliefs from different systems, different cultures, different, that is an important thing. Another thing is Jupiter retrograde tends to be able to see the big picture. But it's kind of like reading a book backwards.
Yeah.
You can see the end, but you've got to go backwards to get to the beginning, if that makes sense, kind of breaking things down backwards.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like having really feel like pretty strong, like overarching beliefs, or feeling like you kind of know the way that things should go, or you feel like will go in society or in your personal life, but you don't necessarily know how you're going to get there, or like what exactly is the best route to get there.
And kind of needing to like break it down to make it make logical sense. Like, like break it backwards. I always think about it as like breaking it down backwards.
Yeah, maybe in a certain way. I think that I also do feel pretty strongly about a lot of things that are just different than what I guess is the norm in society.
That would make sense. That would make sense here too.
Yeah. So I definitely feel that like about monogamy. Like I don't practice monogamy and I'm not interested in being in monogamous relationships. I've only ever been in non-monogamous relationships where other people are also opting into that. So that's something that's pretty different than the norm. I'm queer. Like I've been a lesbian for most of my life. And that can be shifted in different ways. I'm kind of fluid in that way, but like I'm not straight and I never have been straight or want to be straight. And I'm very connected with the queer community and like the non-monogamous relationship community, and also like with sexuality and being sex positive and kink positive is really important to me. Which is also something that society doesn't really want to acknowledge, is like people like to not talk about sex versus I would rather talk about sex. So.
Or the sex that they talk about it's supposed to
be a certain way.
Yes, the belief, like noise that like, oh, it's supposed to be like this, supposed to be like this, supposed to be like this, and you're like, no, fuck that shit. I don't care.
Yeah, totally. I think that's totally true. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That does make sense. And I bring this up. I bring up the Jupiter retrograde thing because of Jupiter being conjunct the GC in your chart, but also because I've talked about the GC as being protective. Just in general, it does, as difficult as I think that it can be, I do think it is a protective force as well. It does feel amplified when Jupiter is retrograde in a chart. So if this were to perhaps, if the GC were to perhaps kind of turn your Jupiter retrograde, it makes me feel like you might be even more protected. Protected. I put that in quotes because I'm not 100% sure exactly what that means.
Yeah.
But it does seem like, do you feel like you are protected, or like there is luck that you might have?
I definitely think that's true. I feel like I do feel like a pretty lucky person, and like that I've been able to kind of just live my life how I want to live it, and I haven't really faced consequences for that. I've mostly just face praise, really, or other people feeling like, oh, that's something I want to do too. And I do notice that like it is kind of something, it's like, oh, if I start doing something, other people will start doing something after as well, or say that I was so inspired that you did that, like now I want to do that too, and I feel like I really like to lean into that because I just think that it is something that I can offer, because I think that I am protected in that way to like do something that other people wouldn't do. Like wearing my underwear on the outside of my pants when I'm going outside just for fun one day. Like, why not? Like, you know what I mean? And just like, but nobody says anything to me. I don't know if anyone could just do that. But like, for me,
I love that you do,
being like a weirdo. I don't mind being weird. Yeah. I'm like, why not? But yeah. So, or just like, I don't know, just like I help organize events, like queer events, in Oakland where I live. And, we kind of just did it, even though like it's not really legal what we're doing exactly, but like, why? I'm not going to let somebody's rules stop me before they've told me to stop. If they tell me to stop at some point, okay, we'll figure it out then. But I'm not going to like follow the book just because it's there before like somebody comes in and tells me that I can't do it. I don't know.
I like that.
Bit of a rebel.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Why give in before somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Okay. So another question that I have, because you do have the GC in the sixth house. Sixth house is like, it is like physical health.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a lot of things, but physical health is one of them. Do you, and I guess I'm wondering, because of all the energy at the GC, have there ever been, though this might not really, the more that I think about this might not really be the case if there is this protection, but have there ever been any like health issues?
So, no, I think I've always been a very healthy person. But I do feel like I am like a healer, you know, and I do. And my mom is a, like an intuitive healer and like does energy work, and has done that since she had like a near death experience when she was young, and then kind of got access to different, energies that she was connected to. And so I really grew up with that in my household, and also feel like I can tap into that, like just helping people get through different, either different like traumas that kind of live in their body. I've always been somebody that people will like kind of tell things to that they might not tell other people. Mm-hmm. And I think I can be really good with helping people through like difficult conversations or difficult things that they have come up. And with the sex thing, I've often done that through sex. And being like a sexual healer for people has just been something that has come up like a lot. And I feel like that is a big part of my identity. Because I know we're talking about the sun, and that's like identity and stuff like that. People telling me that like through, I mean, one, I just am a sexual person, so I like having sex with different people, but like a lot of people have like like continually tell me that like when it was just different when they're having sex with me, that they felt like they were able to like actually be free sexually versus being really closed off, or like being nervous about their body, or being these different things. And I feel like I really have been able to bring that to a lot of different people. So I don't know, like that with like sexual health and like healing, and I don't know. So maybe that's just kind of a different.
No, it is, but no, that does make sense. So you think that it might actually go more of the healing.
Yeah.
So there's more like, okay. I like that better than where I thought that could have gone. So I like this. I think I like that.
Yeah. And I don't know, you know, there's a lot of different things. So I don't know if that's necessarily that particular part of my chart or not, but
I feel like it probably, what you're talking about here, there are a couple other places in your chart that you could look, but what you're saying does fit for this too, because sexual health is health too. And in the GC, it does seem like it is protective. So perhaps in your case, especially with that Jupiter, perhaps functioning more like a retrograde, even more. I guess I'm wondering, I don't know if that would be the case for everybody. If they had like the GC in the sixth house, I think some people, it might go a different way, but I'm glad it goes this way for you.
Yeah. And I think that the sixth house too, right? Isn't it kind of like about things that you do every day, like everyday things? And absolutely. I feel like just for me, it's like, I'm never going to do something that I don't want to do. Like on a day-to-day basis, I'm just not going to do things I don't want to do. So I'm always just doing exactly what I want to do in the moment.
That's good.
You know? And you know, that's how I feel. I mean, it's not like 100% of it, you know what I mean? Like everyone has like bad days or whatever, but if I'm feeling, you know, in my best, I'm always just doing what I want to do. And if I'm not able to do that, then it's like something's wrong.
Yeah. Well, and that's good that overall you feel like you can do exactly what you want to. That's got to be incredibly freeing and liberating.
Yeah. I really love my life, honestly. I have a really good time.
I think that's great. I really do. I think that's great. Let me see. Okay. The other question that I have is with Leo on the cusp of the third house, it'll bend to the sixth house in the GC, right? Because the GC is conjunct the sun. Well, I do think that the way that you think is different. That was one of my questions. Just by what you're saying here, I don't feel like I need to ask that part. Like, I feel like that's kind of.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And yeah, I mean, what about And now this might actually, the other thing I said, in the email that I sent you, I said, I might ask something along the lines of, if you feel like there is a lot of energy that is either drained or comes through when you do communicate or share information. But it actually sounds like that may not be the case, but you're actually healing for other people in that kind, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, I think that actually the energy comes through when I'm in those periods of isolation or by myself.
Okay.
I feel less like I'm receiving energy around other people unless I feel like I'm receiving energy from them. But when I really feel like I'm receiving energy that's just like knowledge or like divination or like figuring things out or just like listening, like that's mostly happens when I'm by myself. And I feel like I do use that time to like figure out I don't know, I guess what I want to be doing or like how I can best use what I bring to help other people too, because I do think that's really important as well. Because I'm not interested in just having, I guess, power for myself, but I am interested in power generally, because I think a lot of people deserve power that don't have it.
Absolutely. And so then a lot of people that have it don't fucking deserve it.
Yeah, definitely. So I think in those times of like more isolation, that's when I feel most like I'm able to receive energy from like some other kind of source, I suppose. But I think that I can use that skill when I'm around other people to receive their energy and understand that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Now what you're talking about, like the receiving energy from like source or.
Yeah.
So you do get like the downloads.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Can I ask?
I feel like for me, that's also a very physical thing, which is like, it feels like, oh, moving my body to certain ways. Like, I feel like if I'm walking down a street at night, I just follow where my feet take me, because if they want to take me that way, it's going to be safer to go that way. And like, versus going straight ahead, you know what I mean? Or I just try to always follow what my body wants to do, which I feel like is why sex has always been the place that for me, I feel like most free, because you can do anything in sex and you can be anything or go to any kind of realm or whatever you want, you can achieve it for me, because it's a physical thing. So I feel like that's the time that or dancing. I love to dance. And I really feel like through the music, like I really just feel like the music tells my body what to do. And I think that's kind of the same thing. But when I'm alone and like having my sessions with myself, I just feel I feel like I just move my body the way that I don't know, the way that it feels called to move. And if I'm doing that with like tarot cards or something, like where the cards end up, it's like I don't even necessarily know, because my body's doing things between times to move them over here or move them over here and then like appear again or whatever. I don't know. So it's more just like a physical thing that my body is doing.
So your body,
if I let it.
Your body kind of receives them. So they don't necessarily come through in like pictures or images or words or anything, but they kind of come to your body. You move your body.
Yeah, first my body. And once I move it through my body, then it can come up to my brain so that I know like the actual message. But if I'm holding my body still, I don't know if I can really just receive it in my brain from nothing. But if I'm like moving through it will come up towards my body. So, or towards my brain, I suppose, so that I can understand better.
That's very cool. That makes sense. But, you know, with it being in the 6th house, it definitely makes sense for it to go. That's very cool. Okay. So it's much more physical first for you. Okay. That's very cool. I think that was all that I have. Is there anything that you would like to add or anything that I didn't seriously, anything that you think it might, I mean, and if there's nothing else, I'm fine too.
Yeah, I think that the only other thing is like, I do feel like, I guess it like, if this is like the center of, or like the center of our galaxy, right? Just like the sun is the center of our solar system. I don't know, to me, that feels very like, it kind of knows more. And like, we should be listening to it, kind of, if that makes sense. And like, the more that because I don't know, we just create whatever we create in like our human societies, but there is a lot more than that. There's a lot bigger than that, right? Like, if you're talking about a point that we all revolve around, like twice over, right? Because we're already revolved, and so many more times probably because we're revolving around so many different things. But like how much can we try to connect with that and like learn from that? I think is really important, and really like listening to what that calls us to do, and like living our lives. I think also like the more that you live your lives with like, oh, how much am I really just like following what feels good to follow, and like leading with pleasure too, which I really try to do, like leading with pleasure, because I want to live a very pleasurable life. I like enjoying the things that I'm doing. I feel like that really helps you kind of live the life you want to, regardless of what the, you know, societal norms are, or just the situation around you. But like I said, or I guess I said this to you before we started filming, and is that sometimes advice that for me, what I'm like, oh, makes sense, doesn't necessarily work for other people, because they probably face more consequences than I do, because of this kind of protection I have to kind of just forge my own path regardless of what anyone else is doing. So I don't know, maybe take that with a grain of salt.
No, yeah. I mean, no, but yeah, it's in our society, it's living like a pleasureful life, or like a happy life. It's
Mhm.
it's not
seen as a priority.
It's not, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
And it should be. And maybe the more people that can say get away with doing that,
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Perhaps it can become the norm.
Yeah, and show it as like a model too. Also with Jupiter being like a mentor teacher thing, there is like always that, who are you learning from and who are you showing the way? Like, and it's always going to be a balance, right? Nobody's ever just doing one of those things. But I think if you are more of aware of that and conscious about, okay, who do I want to be learning from, and who, like, do I want to be showing the way? Like, you know?
Yeah.
And often I think it's like, you should be learning probably from the people that you've been disregarding, and you should be showing the way from the people that think that they can control you, you know? Because if somebody thinks they control you, you probably need to show them that they can't. And if you think you can control somebody else, you probably need to be learning from
I think you're right. I would agree with that. Yeah, very much. Well, I think that's all the questions that I had.
Okay. Cool.
Thank you so much for
of course. This is fun.
It was fun. I so appreciate you coming on and being open and wanting to share. So
cool.
And to everyone watching this, I will see you all later.